So, as per usual, the message that I am going to deliver will be very triggering to men and women. And what I want to preface that triggering message with is, I am not, nor have I ever been, nor will I ever be a advocate, spokesperson, or freedom fighter for the Black community. I am not here trying to bring families together. I'm not here to play matchmaker. I don't care about your dating experiences. I am an advocate for the restoration of natural selection. Therefore, I believe that most men should be rejected. I am teaching that by way of self-mastery, right? So when a woman is mastering herself, the nuclear family, traditional values, and all of these things that men and women hope for, right? There are people who listen to me and with that little inkling of hope that they're going to find a unicorn in a man, right? Am I against men? No. Am I against relationships? No. I just don't care, right? And I'm not trying to help any of you in pursuit of that, right? So again, as a woman is ascending, she's going to start viewing things differently. And that is a direct threat. It's like a threat of violence to men, because to a lot of men, an ascended woman is a threat to them, because they know that if most women actually chose better, most men would not be chosen, right? Natural selection was tampered with, and this is why there are so many men roaming the earth that should not be, right? That is my stance. So telling me about what the Black community needs and Black women, and that's not what I'm here for. Good luck with all of that stuff that y'all want, right? I'm here for self-mastery. In the show Raising Kanan, Rock had a meeting with Unique. And the meeting was about Kanan unaliving somebody and causing a beef, right? And Rock is trying to smooth things over with Unique. And Unique was saying, this is why women are not allowed in certain spaces, basically. Why women are not allowed to be a part of certain things, because we are emotionally attached to our children. Basically, he's talking about children, but that's just women in general, right? We develop an emotional attachment to what we are a part of, what's a part of us. And so Rock said, well, you have a son too, it's no different for you. And he said, I don't have the same connection with my son that you have with yours. Your son was in your body. You share biology, you share DNA. Basically, it's not verbatim what he said, but basically that's what he's saying. And he's absolutely right. Right? And so, this is why women who are married to men or in long-term relationships with them, actively sleeping with men, or birthed a male, it's very difficult, almost impossible for them to master themselves, because the safety of that connection, whether it be with a man or with their male child, will always take precedence. Again, a woman mastering herself is a direct threat to men, which it shouldn't be. A man should want a mastered woman, and there are men who do want them, but most men don't, because most men won't master themselves, so they're not going to be able to deal with a mastered woman, right? And so this is why I say married women really can't offer me any type of advice on life and survival. Why? Because they're not actually surviving on their own. Now, not to say that women who are married are not, heads of companies and, advocate for women and all these things. Yes. But there is always that net of safety with a man. The man that is in their life. That is who they have an allegiance to, first and foremost. Their man and their families. And there's nothing wrong with that. Right? But you have to understand that there is a clear division between women who are attached to men and women who are not. Constantly sleeping with a man alters your insides. It alters your mind. Right? Women start to feel like they're betraying the men that they love by centering themselves. And they always hold on to this little hope that they can have both. You cannot have both. You cannot master yourself and center and prioritize your family and a man. You can't do both. Something will suffer. This is why men are never really going to fully support a woman truly self-actualizing, because that takes away from what men want from women. Right? This is why they want to get women young and naive, so that they don't develop a sense of self. They just become consumed with a man. Right? Now, this is no slight to women who are with men, and I'm not saying don't be with men. I'm saying that it's damn near impossible to truly 100% self-actualize and be in a relationship with a man. He's going to require you to reduce yourself in some way. He may not say it that way, but there can't be two heads. It's not going to work. This is why when men and women listen to me, they automatically assume that there's no man in my life, because they see and feel and sense the power in me. Women who have this kind of power in the minds of most cannot be, she can't have a man and center herself the way she does. I'm not a misandrist. I don't advocate for hating men or anything like that. My work is to self-actualize, to be sovereign. But in the minds of men and women, to be that as a woman, you cannot be with a man. You cannot have a man in your life. It's no way. And I often find myself asking people, just for research purposes, why do you think I don't have a man? Because I say I don't care about men as a whole? Because I'm not an advocate for family and community? All of these things that are required of women to be with men. It's unfathomable that somebody who thinks and speaks like me, a man would want to deal with. Because most men would not. Because they won't tolerate this level of mastery. They don't have it within themselves. Women who are attached to men by way of marriage, intimacy, right? Who are attached to a male child, there is an allegiance to them. It's a connection to them, right? And there will always be a battle between themselves and the males in their life. Men don't have that battle because men assume the power of the head. So whatever comes behind them, women and children, will have to adhere to that. Women have to reduce themselves in order to be with a man in that traditional way, right? Men know this. That's why they listen to me and tell me about breaking up the black family or the black community, when nothing in my work ever says anything about bringing y'all together. Nor does it say to tear you apart. But again, to hear a woman self-actualize, to see it, to feel her power, is to feel less of a man, because most men will never even get to that space. Most men will never be self-actualize. Most men will die poor, on a fixed income, and powerless. So it's like a threat of violence, because they have to keep up with the woman who is mastering herself, or he's going to be baggage, right? So it's hard for women to even understand that. That's why they like, that's why you don't got no man, or what is it about your work that would get you a man? Because that's most women are the pick-me's they hold so much disdain for, because they can't understand, how does she do all of this and a man would still want her or be with her? Because most people will never even be in the presence of a self-actualized person, a person who is mastered, a man who is mastered. There will always be that inkling of hope that their man is different, their sons are different, right? Now, are all males the same, all men the same? No. Let's not be ridiculous, right? I don't take that extreme perspective that all men are the same. But all men are males, and they all have a nature, right? They all have a certain wiring, just like all women have the female nature and a certain wiring. You work to ascend, but you're still wired the way you're wired. Things are all good, and men will allow you to do whatever it is you need to do for yourself, because it's just a phase, right? Working on yourself is just a phase that women get into when they end their relationships, or when they no longer feel fulfilled. And men know this. A lot of what women do are phases, and hey, you should grow out of it. But when you really start seeing it in that, you're going to start seeing him differently, because it's going to be a threat to him and everything he wants. It's going to be an embarrassment. Your wife is doing this and doing that. How does she have time for the kids and you? And these are the things that women don't want to face. You want to have it all, and you can't have it all. To choose better is to choose yourself over everything and everyone. But women don't see that. They don't realize that, because they don't want to betray and hurt the feelings of those that they're attached to. Right? Once you commit to that spiritual binding of marriage, that's a battle within itself. Right? It's all good in the beginning, and I'm mastered and I know certain things. Or you're not mastered, right? When men tell me I'm mastered, most of you are not mastered. You're working on yourself or whatever. It's all good until he starts to say, well, wait a minute, this is interfering with what I got going on. That's a binding. Having children and all that stuff, women are limited in that. And again, it's not wrong with it if that's what you choose, right? I'm not here to argue with y'all. You want to be happily married and be in your binding or whatever it is, I will never arrive at a care. I'm not trying to keep you together or break you up. But just realize that there's a ceiling there, right? And men are not going to allow two heads. It's never going to happen. Again, is it all men? No, but it's most of them. Most of you are going to be dealing with men who cannot and will never be with a mastered woman. Most of you, right? It's very rare that you're going to cross paths with a man who's self-actualized, who is mastered, who wants the same in his woman. It's very rare. That's why so many men are uneasy about all of the truths that are coming out about women, and the low birth rate and all these things, because most men feel threatened by that. The only men who don't feel threatened by those things are men who are self-actualized, who no matter what happens will always have access to women. That's not most men's story. Most men barely can get access to women. Most of them, it's very hard for men to get women, right? So don't ever think that your husband who married you, or he is the unicorn. Most of them are not. You just have not seen that side of them, right? Just like women say, the man you married is not the same man you divorced, right? Again, I don't care about your little raggedy relationships. I don't care. Just letting you know that For most men, there'll never be two heads.